months we came from, right?
Yes.
So
Finn, you recover nicely from your hip.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Finn, you're walking like a superstar now, eh?
Yes, you're
No,
ready
no,
for
no,
like
it's
the
good.
defensive line.
But we have a treadmill like going like 40 minutes every day.
What?
Because I had to. But you know, this is 20 months now. 21
Finn, let me
months.
just say, is this a long way from DGS on Valley Road in 1972?
Oh, I think so.
Yes.
I think we've gone. We all. That's when I kid you and I told you that you representing the police commissioner for Prince George's County, Major County, most affluent black outside of Washington D.C. coming from D.D. That's no joke.
Yes.
So
yes,
you might dismiss it as just another client.
I remember exactly where I was. I was pulling off 301 going on Mitchellville Road.
Yeah.
Next to the Bowie Baptist Church.
Yeah.
When you called me and said, you saw me in the Washington Post.
I got in the morning and when you were my Washington Post in Gabriel Christian, I'm like, no, that's not true. And so I'm like waking up Christian, like, what are you waking me up for? I'm like, Jesus Gabe was like, you couldn't wait until you thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chrissy was sleeping.
Yeah, I got to read my paper.
Yes.
And so,
But this is a very nice office, Finn. I'm very proud of you, sir.
well, listen.
And the grammar school is right there on the wall, eh?
Yes, sir.
Our alma mater.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So I'm here with dental surgeon, Dr. Emmanuel. John Finn, we knew him at as a grammar school, knew him as at the grammar school. Now John Emmanuel Finn, who is a Dominica, distinguished Dominican citizen, distinguished U.S. citizen of Dominican heritage, who has been advocating for democracy, helping Dominica's development process, representing us in the best way. Finn, any words on our island home that we dearly love?
Well, obviously, as I said, one of the radio shows this morning, yeah, we are 2,000 nautical miles away from city center in Roseville, from Lago, for me, and 2,000 nautical miles away from the foothills of the Lapland Mountain, where it all began for me many years ago. But in actuality, we're right there. We may not be there physically, but we're right there in mind, body, and soul. And so, yeah, we've made some strides. Certainly, you've made some strides, and I think I've made some strides, not only professionally, but also with family. I have a beautiful wife and two wonderful daughters who are moving on. But what about the folks we left behind? What about what's happening in our island home? And yeah, we for Dominica. We grieve for Dominica because, and now that we're getting older, we're transitioning, if you may. We look forward to at least, if not physically living on the island, at least partially living on the island. But more than that, giving back and making our contribution. As I told the radio station this morning when I called, that I called two reasons. The eve of a major holiday in America, Thanksgiving. We wanted to give thanks to Dominica for feeding us, educating us, giving us the discipline, and sending us away to the big city. And that we're thankful for. And also on the eve of a major by-election in the South, a cultural capital. And
You're talking about the by-election tomorrow with Julius Handbag, the independent candidate.
Yeah.
Really, the only, in our view, legitimate candidate, because the government's candidate, Vince Henderson, is the current Dominican ambassador to the United States and the Organization of American States. How does that square with the law, Finn?
Right, and so I did allude to that, and I said again, we're a nation of laws. If we say we're a member of the UN member group, then we need to follow laws. And I also talked about, briefly about, this is setting up something sinister, the worst is yet to come. But I think, all in that, as you told me a couple of days ago, that what we can do right now is just make our contribution and take care of our families. But the reality is that our families are taken care of. We worry about folks back home. Yeah, so while we are proud of our accomplishments, and also, did I say, it didn't come easy. You and I talked about the struggles we went through in the early days.
Well, Finn, I just want on the record acknowledge you as the person who, in the early days of my presidency in the United States in 1982-83, got me into the University of the District of Columbia. When I came to Southeastern University, which was going to be in Amanaleg. And at that time, you said to me, Gabe, I know a place that you can get into. that's much more affordable, and that was the City University. Tell us about that, Sam. Tell us about that episode where you played that role in my life, friend.
Well, before we did this, I also want to tell you before you arrived, while you were having fun in Dominica, before you arrived, before that's the fun before the storm, if you may. Your brother Sam Christian, Dr. Sam Christian, helped me secure housing in DC. I had relocated from Dominica earlier and migrated earlier a couple of years before you, where I was in Connecticut and I wanted to start my education. And I was living with a gentleman who I couldn't pay his rent. I couldn't pay my rent. And, let's not sugarcoat it, he kicked me out and I didn't know where to go. And Sam was on a local radio station talking about wanting to start a Dominica Association in Washington, D.C. I took his number. And when the gentleman
You was talking about Hurricane Relief, Hurricane David.
No. He was just that was even before. He was talking about forming the Dominica Association in Washington, D.C. I think Sam was either a freshman or sophomore in medical school here in Howard University, College of Medicine. And I took his number. He went on the Vaughn Martin show, that veteran Caribbean reporter and newsman. And so I took his number and I called him. And so when the gentleman said, I couldn't save him anymore, it's a gentleman from St. Croix, I said, fine. I called Sam, and Sam was ever accommodating. So I think it encompasses all, here. And so when you came, it was really the whole aspect of community, if you may. And if you may, it was really the could May thing on another level, 2,000 nautical miles away from the city center in Roseville, right?
Yes.
So I think, and that we've lost that. I'll give you one example. In my community of La Plaine, which is a hotbed of political activity, we have a place where everybody was so close. We have the politicians have divided our people right down the middle.
Yes.
And so we would like to see that more, where our folks can get along at home, regardless of what their political aspirations or support, who they support, and when they come to the big cities, so we can.
And Finn, let me just say this. So Emmanuel John Finn started at the Dominica Grammar School in September of 1972 with myself, the interviewer here, Gabriel Christian, people like Michael Highway, Linton Scotland, Tony Charles, Bobby Shaw, Earl Andre, John Fingal, Poppy, a lot of us. Stanley White,
Michael Pascal.
That's right. We were all cadets,
Fanman.
Irvin Pascal, Albert Bellot, that group, Mac Frampton, we entered the grammar school under J.K. Goff,
yes,
the Welshman, the physicist, British guy. And our teacher in 1C was Wells of Christian, later Dr. Wells of Christian. Were you in 1S?
I was in 1S,
yes.
one Savra. And Savra was, from La Plaine.
He just passed away.
Yes, from La Plaine, yeah.
Yes, he was the vocational education teacher at the technical wing.
Agriculturist, yeah.
So let's go back. So Finn, you were born in beneath the Sari Falls or the Plains of Belvedere?
Belvedere is for the south in Daly
in Daly Seas, but you were born in La Plaine.
I was born in La Plaine in the La Plaine Valley.
Yes, and where did you attend school?
So I attended La Plaine Government School, if you may.
And who was your teacher there?
My teacher there, actually, to go back, my teacher there was my head mistress there was Mrs. Gertrude Roberts.
And her daughter is now in politics.
Yeah, and I wrote a beautiful, on her funeral program, the family asked me to write a beautiful piece, and it was in the program.
Yes.
Of course, I wrote a story on her, which says that she taught her students to read, write, and to speak properly. And
you certainly have achieved in all three counts. Not only are you a distinguished dental surgeon in Washington, D.C., a congressional fellow on Capitol Hill, but you're also an essayist. You write on the conditions of our people in Dominica and here in the United States. And so you're one of the exemplary Dominicans. And now here in Prince George's County, which is on the D.C. line, you are a dental
director for the county.
You're the dental director for Prince George's County.
Yeah.
Isn't that and Prince George's County, for those who do not know, is the most affluent county for African Americans in the United States, maybe in the world. Mm-hmm. And so to be dental director, coming from the Dominica Grammar School, and before that the La Plaine Government School, that's a high honor and privilege. And I just want to say, when I came here, I know you were a dentist over here, at this auspicious building. Just show us quickly around, Finn,
Sure, we can do that. Okay, well, this is
the-
obviously this is my office.
yes, indeed.
And you can tell this is my beautiful
Of course, that's your
family.
beautiful family here. You're married to the
Chrissy. And my
who is the
girls.
daughter, who is from a convent girl, the wife of Annette the daughter of Annette Saint-Hilaire,
Yeah.
the famous Dominican politician and
this is
commercial,
Sari, my first daughter Sari, who's a third-year engineering
Thank you.
student at Northeastern University in Boston. Her name's Sari, obviously, because I grew up along the banks of the Sari River.
Sorry.
And this is Alana. Again, my grandfather in Lapland was Burton Allen from the Allen family, and he was the oral historian for the village.
And your wife was Miss Dominica 2000? Or was it
No. And of course, Gable, here's the album picture of Alma
this is
Mater.
our grammar school here where we
Yeah.
were cadets on that ground there, and that's where we
Yeah.
attended back in the 70s.
And this is
Howard University right
Howard
here.
University and
Your dental
everything.
degree, man.
Yeah, and this is a certificate I have, as a diplomat of the International College of Dentists.
Yes.
And so
Yes, indeed.
obviously-
International College of Dentists.
and obviously this is my Maryland license, and this is other things.
Can you show us around the dental surgery?
Yeah, sure, we'll do that.
And this is Dr. Sam. Say hello, Sam.
Hello. This is a great talk. Great talk.
Sam, you're quite
So
bearded.
obviously,
Yes, of course.
This is a Panorex machine, and again, this is an external machine. To go, it goes the internal and external radiographs, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you have like a cyst or any kind of tumor, this will go around, it will around your head,
Yes, of course.
and then we'll see it.
Yes,
Obviously.
indeed.
Um,
And this is the area
this
for
is the
the
sterilization room.
sterilization room.
Obviously, infection control is big.
And these are the autoclaves over here.
Yeah, the autoclaves over here, right? And we have our pre-sterilization here, the cold sterilization and everything else, clean instruments, and obviously just clean instruments. So this is one laboratory.
This is operating room 4.
Yeah, this is one laboratory. You can see this is again, we beam the X-rays on this here.
So how many dental surgeries you got? About 5 dental suites?
Operatories?
Yeah.
5, yeah. So this is for educational for the kids, and this is we beam our X-rays and procedures on this right here.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And then so obviously this is also a supply room, right? With what we have,
Yes.
and this is of course the operatory. I use this because in the middle room I can shift from room to room. This
Yes.
is where I practice mainly.
And so you're married to Chrissy, a wife of about, almost 20 years now,
Actually,
Finn?
no. 25 and a half and counting.
Of course, she went to the convent high school, distinguished graduate, and she's also a businesswoman.
Yes.
She
And,
owns a daycare center in Washington on Capitol Hill.
We own two daycare centers.
Outstanding.
One in the Northwest area and one on Capitol Hill, which just opened a couple months ago.
Congratulations, Finn.
Yeah.
You've done
Thank
quite
you.
well.
And this is obviously a laboratory where we have contract dentists coming in. Yeah.
I want to say, Finn, it occurs to me that you're a very distinguished ambassador for your country. You present the best of your country, which is
Yeah.
excellence in operational art, intellectual dexterity,
Yes.
academic achievement,
Yeah.
professionalism. Certainly, you've done a much better job than some of those other ambassadors who are not Dominicans, who unfortunately have been given the designation of ambassador. Is that right?
Obviously, I can't disagree with you, Gable. But I think the issue here is that if you work hard and you went through it the old-fashioned way,
Yes, sir.
I think there's a certain degree of appreciation that you have,
Yes, sir.
from whence it began, right? And so you and I can sit in Washington and go to our cocktails and, say, we don't care about Dominica, we've escaped if you made to heck with everybody else.
Right.
But would that really...
How would that sit with our spirit?
I don't think
Right.
so.
So we have to then always be conscious of our obligation to our country,
I think
our
so.
country, our island of birth,
Yeah.
and do all that we can to help with the schools, with the cadet corps, with the hospital, with the the police, whoever. We have to assist our country, and also speak out where it's been misruled.
I think
Am
so.
I right?
I think so. I think you have to, as I did today. And I think we are the one stage of our lives where we do not need to beg anybody for a job or for a scholarship for our children or whatever, or we don't need any clinics, red or blue,
Yes, yes.
or whatever. And I think so it's incumbent on us what we want to do is just in a professional way, But because we came from that background, I always kid you that I got up one morning a few years ago reading the Washington Post, and there was this police chief in Prince George's County, Maryland, who was having some problem with his contract with the county, a huge county of over 1 million people, very affluent county right outside of D.C. And I'm like, I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Colonel Roberto Hilton.
Yeah, Hilton, Chief Hilton. A lawyer is Gabriel Christian. I mean, I'm almost passed out of my chair. I mean, I know you dismissed that, and I kid you with that, but I'm like, wait, I woke up my wife one morning about 7. She's like, what are you waking me up for? I was like, here's Gabriel Christian. Like, you couldn't wait until 9 o'clock? No, I couldn't. And right there, reading that passage, was an avalanche of emotions.
Yes.
Now, sometimes we dismiss it because if you may arrive, but what it took me back was you blowing your bugle in Cadet Corps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or you get into an argument on the ground school field with, it was an argument about Guinea-Bissau or the independence of Mozambique. It was in the middle of it, And Gabe wanted to fight, When I say fight, he's so emotionally charged. But you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of yourself, I remember our science teacher, Atlee Douglas. You remember Dr. He's a vet in New York, from the Ivory Sun. I think on the field, and he said to the, okay, Gabu, are you going to do PE today, or are you going to talk about Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau?
That was the younger brother of Brucey Douglas.
Yeah. It's like no Guinea-Bissau today, no Mozambique. PE, which is physical education.
Yes,
I remember that distinctly.
Yes,
and so, and the other thing, Gabu, is the way you encircled your family, and the way I'm talking to your family, your brother Sam, Dr. Sam Christian, the way you send off your dad, the entire family. It says that show me a country or people who don't bury their dead with dignity. I'll show you people or family or country that's in trouble. And obviously the anniversary of your dad's death or his birthday just came around.
October 7th, yes.
So, and I remember your dad fondly.
Yes, he remembers you well.
Fondly, he talked about. In fact,
growing up in the East at Port Milat.
One of the stories he gave me, one of our Suklamute songs, Woi Woi Bontin
Woi Bontin Bawe.
And he came for Sammy's graduation or for your graduation. I don't remember this. Sammy, and we were talking, and he says his
father
was a corporal
who used to ride in Bontin.
Yeah, corporal
on a horse called John.
Yeah, Corporal Christian.
Yes.
And Bontin was a sergeant, right?
That's right.
At that time, the Dominica was part of the Leeward Islands group.
Yes, that's right.
And they were in the southern flank, looking for
southeast, looking for people smuggling tafia.
Yeah, tafia
from Martinique.
And then so Bontin had and what the British did, they had policemen.
Took policemen who were non-Dominicans from Montserrat.
So they had no pity for the community.
That's right.
And so
because our grandfather was from Antigua.
Right, and so was Bontin too.
Yes.
So Sergeant Bontin, he was very ruthless.
Yes.
And when he held the guys, he either slapped them, he beat them, and he said one time when guys were coming from Martinique with tafia, the legal rum, he tasted. He said, "Corporal Christian, tafia, arrest him." He tasted it, and your dad always talked about his children, and so he was very, very proud man, and very proud as to the strides that his children made,
And I'm very proud of you too, Finn, because you told us about having gone to University of DC where you did what was your undergrad again? Chemistry, chemistry, and then Howard University where you did dental surgery and got your.
I also have a master's in healthcare administration.
That's right, and you were a congressional fellow. Tell us about that.
Well, that was interesting. How do you square a kid from the foothills of the La Plaine Mountains going up and working in the Senate?
Yes.
I don't know. We let history take care of that.
Well. I mean, this is just amazing. I frankly, you're the only person from the Caribbean I know, who became a congressional fellow and worked in the U.S. Senate. Who was the senator you worked with directly?
In fact, he's the ranking senator from Oregon, Senator Ron Wyden.
Yes.
And it was just amazing. And, while you're in it, you really have to obviously focus on what you're doing.
Yeah. And what were you doing for Wyden? Were you writing policy papers?
Policy. As a matter of fact, You know, one word in a bill could mean $10 billion. And so they ask you to write a policy on a certain pending bill. And by the time the chief of staff gets it, they strip it down. Maybe you wouldn't have but one word in there, right?
Yes, yes.
But I wrote something, I can't remember, it was on Medicare, which is the elderly insurance. And 3 paragraphs, the senator went on the floor
Yes.
of the Senate, and my 3 paragraphs were unedited. I'm like, no, this is real. So I think the take-home message is not where you came from, is where you're going.
That's right.
And so we tell our kids that, you know, and we tell our kids.
And your kids have done very well. They went to a Sidwell Friends?
No, my daughter went to Lowell, which is a small private school, middle school, in Washington, and then she also went to St. John's College High School. And my other daughter went to undergrad, to middle school at Holton. And you know, her classmate was...
When you say Holton, you mean Holton Arms?
her classmate was the daughter of Judge Gossett, the Supreme Court judge.
Well, I know Holton
Justice.
Arms is a school for the Washington, D.C.
So
elite. Finn.
we tried to give the kids what we didn't have.
And your daughter Alana now is...
She is she's in St. John's High School, graduating next May. And then my 2 daughters also play football for Dominica.
They've actually returned to play football for the island of their father and mother's birth.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the younger one, Alana, made her debut for the senior team in Trinidad 3 years ago at 14.
Amazing.
And this come February 16th to 22nd, they will be in Guyana.
Yes. Representing...
On the senior
Dominica.
Team, Dominica, the CONCACAF Championship Women 2022.
So people need to know that here is a Dominican surgeon, dental surgeon, who's the director at the Prince George's County Health Department, director of surgery, dental surgery, serving, you know, as I said, a county of more than 1 million people. Okay, congressional fellow, worked with Senator Wyden, ranking senator from Oregon, writing policy, including public health policy for the United States of America.
Yes.
The entire United States of America.
Yeah.
John Finn, I just want to compliment you. And I want to, you know, and your wife must be very proud. I'm proud. We as Dominicans are very proud that you've come to the United States, you studied hard, you worked hard, but you never forgot to give back to the community in the Washington, D.C. area, in the Prince George's County area, but the community where you were born. And that's just wonderful. Dr. Christian, I want to thank you for offering some leadership. When you met Finn in 1979-80, you were just started at Howard University Medical School?
That's correct, yeah.
Yes, indeed. And you attended, before that, you'd gone to Shorter College in Rome, Georgia?
Yes.
And studied, did you do biochemistry there?
So, yes. So I did biochemistry, did chemistry, so we had similar pathways.
And you're Old Dominica Grammar School cadet as well?
Without question.
I'm going to flip back to Finn. What role did the Cadet Corps play in way of value engineering to prepare you for this sort of successes that you've had? What role did it play?
You know, I've written about that, Gabe, immense. I think the Cadet Corps really prepared...
And for those who don't know, the Cadet Corps is like an army program among students at the high school, right? In the United States, it's equivalent to the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, JROTC, correct?
Yeah, correct?
And who was our commandant in those days?
So the commander was Major Earl Johnson, and of course, at that time, there were 4 different units. We had the youth camp, Londonderry Youth Camp, which is something I'd like to see back in Dominica, which was, it was a London